moments that we have left, we want to talk right down to earth in a language that everybody here can easily understand.
Your source for everything paranormal, Para-X. The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para-X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Extraterrestrial, psychic energy.
The Calling.
And good evening, everybody. This is Jerry with The Calling. And, of course, this is Wednesday. And, Alan, you're with me tonight, right?
You betcha. Still here.
Excellent, excellent. Now, we have to say that, poor Will, he was on with us, and he had a smell of a gas leak in his basement. So he had to get out of his house. So it's just going to be Alan and I tonight, and two wild girls from GEEKS Paranormal. We have Shauna and Victoria. How you doing, ladies?
Hi, we're doing good. How are you?
Good. Thank you very much. And so now, ladies, tell me, what does GEEK stand for again?
I don't know, Jerry. What does GEEK stand for? Can you tell us?
Well, your head's in the way. General Ectoplasm
Exposition and Knowledge Society.
Okay. Awesome. There you go. All right.
It's a mouthful.
A mouthful, especially when you've been drinking a little wine. Anyway, or no, champagne, I'm sorry. Or was it whiskey? Was it vodka? Something like that. So now, where are you ladies? Where do you guys are at? You guys are in Oklahoma, if I'm correct.
We are. We're right above the Tulsa area in Bartlesville, Oklahoma.
Okay. And go ahead.
Well, neither one of us are from here.
Oh, where are you
from? I'm originally from Southern Alabama.
And I'm originally from Michigan.
Oh, okay. Michigan, Alabama. Like, what happened here?
Well, my little, I guess, escapade. I ended up here because I was going to school for web design, and there was an opening up here. Back in 2007, there wasn't really that many job openings for web designers, so I moved up here to try to get the job, and I didn't get it, but I found my husband, and I've stayed.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And how did you get there, Victoria?
Well, mine's a little bit more of a complicated story. I was pregnant with a baby, and I felt like God wanted me to come to Oklahoma. It was back in 1999, and I've kind of been here ever since. I went back to Michigan for a little bit, but I really just kind of fell in love with Oklahoma and been here since.
Oh, I'll be darned. Nice. Somebody's got their volume up a little too loud. We're actually echoing. There you go. It's all taken care of now. It seems like it's okay. So, okay, great. Now, who started GEEKS?
I did.
Okay.
I started it 5 years ago. It was a funny story, really. I was at work at the time, and I was talking to another coworker there, and she was like, you should really start. You're really outgoing. You should really start a paranormal group. And I'm like, you know what? I think that's a great idea. So we started it, and I was, it's been 5 years, and I've been here 9 years next month. So it's been a hard road trying to build up the trust for our group because I'm not from here and it's so new, or it was new at the time. And but it's come a long way since I started it, and it's interesting all the stuff you have to learn to get where we are right now and do what we're doing.
Oh, I suppose. So now, okay, so how did you come up with Geeks? I mean, the name Geeks.
Well, it's either going to be geeks or nerds.
Okay, if it was nerds, what would that have stood for?
Don't know. I never really came up with anything for nerds. If it was going to be something like nautical something, we just really never finished that. We were all pretty much geeks, and we really sat down and pulled up I don't know what you would call it, I guess the brain waves. We all had our tinfoil hats on, and
and ladies and gentlemen, they are wearing tinfoiled hats right now.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So they said something.
I have a question. I was wondering if there was some sort of a paranormal event in your personal lives that sort of made you wanted to get into this field.
Yeah, I had a few of them. One of them happened when I was really, really young. I was probably 5 at the time, and my papa had died. And I remember being on my swing set and crying because he used to push me on my swing set. And I had said, "Papa, I wish you were here." I felt a push on my back. And ever since then, I've been kind of looking into it, never really delved into it, but it was something growing up. My parents are very conservative. They don't like the fact that I'm in this field or anything. So I've kind of had to put it on a back burner until I was brave enough to say, hey, I'm old enough to do what I want to do. I'm going to do it anyway. And once I started going really into it, it's been very interesting, all the stuff that I've found, all the stuff that I've heard and seen, and that's what led me into it, thinking about it over the years. And there was a car accident that I had when I was 16 years old. Yes, I was drinking and driving. Horrible thing, never done it since. But I felt like somebody was really protecting me that night because I walked away from that wreck with a bruise on my shoulder. That's it. And I went between a telephone pole and a little metal reflector off a cement culvert and landed on a tree root, which the tree was right in front of me, and I should have gone through the windshield. But I believe that was my papa. My papa was there, and he was protecting me. But yeah, ever since those 2 incidences, it's really been something that's been nagging at the back of my brain. And then when I finally did it, it was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. This is my passion.
And my story is a little bit more complicated, as usual. Well, my first event was probably maybe 4, and I kept seeing my grandma, whom she died when my mother was 17. And I was describing her perfectly to them. And so moving right along on that one, because I don't even really remember that event. I did have a near-death episode when I was 5 where my head was split open and I died and I had to have a blood transfusion and came back. And I guess I was probably dead like a minute. But I do remember going somewhere, and I do remember a presence around me during that time that I can't explain, and it's a kind of a foggy memory, so it's kind of hard to explain. And then later on, there was times where I would just know something and not know why I knew it. Like the first time it ever happened, I think I freaked out my friends at school because I was in elementary, and a new girl came to school, and I absolutely knew for no reason that I can explain that she had moved there from a terrible fire that happened at her house. And I knew her name. I knew without her telling me anything. And over time, things would continue to occur. When I had my daughter, I was breastfeeding her, and something walked through me, and then walked through my daughter at the same time, where she freaked out and started screaming. And then of course I'm kind of stinker sometimes. And I was like,
Sometimes.
and I was like, you could have just used the door. And I actually heard giggling as it walked away, because it literally just walked through me. And so, I mean, as the time went on, I just kept getting presented with different things that I was seeing or feeling. And I was, it's just like it was meant to be.
Wow. I'll be darned. So now, did any time or any case that you guys had that really scared you, where you were thinking, no, not going to do this anymore? I mean, we all have that type of happen, but let's start with Vicki first, because Shauna thinks she should talk first. I seen that. So go ahead, Vicki.
She's the leader, so it's okay. Well, I mean, this last case, I don't say I thought not going to do it again, but at one point I came home and I was looking through our the still pictures that we took of this house, and all of a sudden there was something sitting on one of the pictures, and it turned and looked at me, and then it freaked me out. So I sent the picture on to her. Well, the time it got to her, it was gone. Whatever it was gone. So I was like, well, I don't know, did I imagine it? I wasn't drinking that night, so but that kind of freaked me out a little bit. But as far as, I mean, when you grow up with it, it doesn't really freak you out anymore, You just kind of used to. But that did kind of freak me out a little. I told her, I was like, oh, I don't know what that was. It was kind of freaky. But she's trying not to giggle at me.
I was trying not to.
Well, what about you, Shauna?
Not really. I mean, this last case was very interesting. I'm like a curious cat. I will go into any atmosphere and try to find what I need to find. I was in the military. I've been shot at, so it's something that really, I guess the last case we had, which was really private case, we really can't go into it much, but was the first time that I really got scratched. So that didn't really scare me. It was more like, hey, take a picture, hurry, come on. But being scared, not yet, no. I've had really anxious feelings at one place where we went to. It was a graveyard, and it was really quiet and silent at the time. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my heart started racing, and I was just like, oh my gosh, something's coming. And then it was gone. And it was like, what the heck happened? But I think the only time I would probably really get scared is if there was something really demonic in the room and I was by myself.
And that's kind of what the case was with that picture. It was very demonic. It was on the picture. It turned and looked at me, and I mean, I don't say that I was scared, like, oh my gosh, I want to quit. It was more of a, oh wow, that was really creepy.
You should have stayed and done it again.
And I did actually say that to her. I was like, I really wish it would have stayed so we could have seen it more. So.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, ladies, somebody in the chat room just asked a question. Jesse, 1984. He or she asking, a question for the geek. Have they ever had a case that they were supposed to go to a house that day, and the homeowners called and said, somebody said something at the same time. So you're supposed to go to, and the homeowners called and said, because the church told them not to even through the church already blessed it twice. As a church, have you done a case where some church blessed it twice, and then the homeowner said they don't need to go or something like that? I guess and the homeowner never gave a reason to why. And when I called them, they just as a follow-up. Is that somebody on your team by the name of Jesse?
No, we don't have anybody on our team.
Well, have you ever had that happen or anything like that?
Well, we had a case where we have cleansed it, but we've never had a case where a church has gone in and done it. If a church has gone in and done it, it's way over us. We're not going to be able to cleanse that. I mean, But no, we've never had that situation of where, I mean, we've recommended churches, but I've never gone in after a church is already blessed. If a church is already blessed and they're still having problems, there's something really bad going on there.
Right. We actually did have a case one time where we were going to go and clear it, and then they said, well, we called our church, and the church was going to come out and bless it. And they did, and everything was fine for a very short time, and then it came back even worse. And then they would not go back out there again. Go ahead, Victoria.
Yeah, what people don't realize is that whatever you're doing, that you might have brought the entity in the house if it wasn't already there. If you continue to do that same pattern of life after the house is blessed, guess what, guys? It's going to come right back. You know, if you're out there doing bad things and you're doing it in the house, a blessed house, you still are doing bad things. And bad thing, you know, the devil will come with bad things.
Okay. Here's what the question was, guys. I'm sorry. The person was, I didn't read it right or something, saying that they were supposed to investigate. When they called to confirm, they were told that the church told the homeowner not to investigate.
Oh. No, we've never had that problem. If a church has told a homeowner not to investigate, I mean, to me, in my opinion, you better call somebody and have them come out and investigate, because there may be something the church may be hiding. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I would trust a church that told me, or, you know, hey, you don't need anybody to come out and investigate this house. This house is fine.
I think I would definitely have a team in there, in that house. Church says not to do it, and I'm going to be there.
Yeah, because why tell you not to do it? I mean,
and if it's that bad, maybe, you know, gasoline.
Oh my God! Alan, your turn.
All right. You just mentioned something about during your own personal experience, Victoria, where a spirit sort of walked through you and your baby. Has that ever happened on an investigation?
No, but this last investigation, I did have something touch me, which was pretty cool. And it just kind of tapped my hand and, you know, basically just said, I'm here, you know. But as far as walking through me on an investigation, no, not that hasn't happened. I have felt things, witnessed a scratch actually being formed on Shauna.
Wow.
But nothing has ever walked through me. But to be fair, I'm pretty sure the ghost that walked through me when I was nursing my baby was my cousin, as he was a prankster. And he loved to do fun things like that. So
that would have been hilarious.
Yeah, other than the fact that it startled my baby, it was hilarious. I mean, and he thought it was funny because he was giggling as he walked away.
Gotcha. Let's see now. Sorry, going through my list of questions here. Okay, so like when you guys were little, let's go with Shauna on this. When you were little, did you have anything? I mean, did your parents talk about ghosts or anything like that? Or is that something that was kind of taboo into talking about?
No, my mom actually mentioned a lot of things that happened to her as she was older. She never mentioned anything about when she was little, but she did mention that one of her brother-in-laws, after he passed away, had come in. She could smell his cologne in the room that she was in. And the minute she mentioned that her sister was okay, the cologne left. She also mentioned an experience with, while she was in a home, the bottom part used to be a morgue. And she had gone downstairs to take a shower where she heard something beating on the door, and she was like, I'm in the shower, you know, don't mess with me right now. And then she heard the washing machine going off outside. Well, after a couple of moments, she was wondering who was washing clothes outside. So she got out of the shower, and the washing machine was not even plugged up. They hadn't even plugged up that washing machine yet. But she has mentioned a couple of experiences that she's had in her lifetime, and she's expressed that she'd rather me not do it, but she kind of more along the lines of, you're crazy if you're doing this. You know, you're absolutely out of your mind. But she's had experiences. my dad, he's never really mentioned anything about his experiences. He just said, I know they exist, and you're foolish for doing this. But that's pretty much all I get out of them.
I'll be darned. What about you, Victoria?
Okay, well, my mom has passed away. She's passed away in 2014. But before then, she mentioned, she had kind of a little gift where whenever she wanted to talk to me, instead of just picking up the phone and calling me, she would send me messages in my mind, which I know that sounds kind of crazy, but she would. And I would be like, what do you want? I'd call her, what do you want? Can't you use the phone? But, yeah, she was very much about the paranormal world. She had an experience apparently when she was a teenager with her and a group of friends that used a Ouija board and had a bad experience with it. Apparently, something came out and somebody said Jesus, but, they weren't calling on the name of Jesus. They just said Jesus, and it made whatever it was mad, and that guy ended up getting cut really bad from it. So, I mean, she's always been very much about the paranormal experiences and stuff.
Oh, I'll be darned. Go ahead, Alan.
Okay, you mentioned private residence hauntings. Do you prefer to go out to private residences or investigate more publicized type hauntings?
Oh gosh, I personally love doing bigger things. We did do a TB hospital in the South. I can't mention where it's at. And it was absolutely amazing experience to go back and listen to a lot of the things that happened, see a lot of the things that happened. And just to read the stories. Once you research these stories that happen at these places, it's just amazing. I love history, and just reading the history on that, though, sometimes it's so sad, and you can feel the sadness when you're at places like that. But to me, yeah, bigger places like that is what I love.
Right.
But the need for private, it depends on if there's children involved. That will definitely come first before anything.
Always. If there's a child involved, we drop everything to go and take care of the home of a child, or somebody's getting injured or something.
So I guess a follow-up question to that: do the different team members have a specific role?
Yes. Vicky is our sensitive, our historian. She's my go-to girl. I ask her to find something or do something, and she does it for me. I'm the founder, but I also do video editing, audio editing, graphics. I went to school for web design and interactive media, so that's pretty much my role on that one. I also do case management, and I find things for the group to do, or I talk to anybody that needs, if she finds somebody that says, well, we need your founder to call, I'll call and talk to them, let them know what's going on. Darren is demonologist. That's pretty much a name he made up for himself. He's really, really new to the group. He just came to the group, about a month ago?
I don't know. It
about
seems
2
like
months.
longer than a month ago.
Well,
2 months ago, anyways.
He wasn't a part of the group when we originally went out to this last investigation that we went to in Tulsa. He had actually called me and said, hey, you have a paranormal group, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, I need you to come out here. We need you to do this investigation. Once we did the investigation and all that, after a couple months of talking to him and interacting with him, we invited him to the group. I invited him to the group, and he accepted. Darren Evans was actually on Ghost Adventures for the Zozo demon.
3 different episodes, I believe.
2, I think.
I think it was 3. And he also has wrote a book. And so he's been out there a little, so.
But then we have Ricky, who is our co-historian. We have Kelly and Debbie, who also are investigators, and they help Vicky with case management stuff.
And I also write the blogs.
She writes the blogs. Yep.
Let's see. I know I do so many different things.
She tries to do so many different things, and I have to bop her on the head and say, back off. you got to delegate some of this stuff out to other people.
Right? Because I will try to do it all.
Yes, she tries to do it all. But she has blogs on geeksparanormal.wordpress.com. That is where her blogs are, and they are very interesting so far. She just came to the group in January, and she's been a great asset to the group. You're welcome. But Kelly has been with me the longest. She was the one that convinced me to create the group. And then Debbie's been with us since March. Ricky has been with us for a couple of years. But we do have one other person that's on LOA, and he is my witch. He's actually going to school right now full time. So he has had to been put on LOA because his schoolwork comes first. So once his schoolwork is done, he'll be able to come back. But his name is Dustin, and he's been a great asset to the group too. He'll go out and find cases, and he's real big in paganism, and it's been a lot of help to me, especially on cases that involve paganism and stuff like that. So he's also a sensitive, very powerful sensitive.
So let's see now. We have you ever had a client that wanted to join the team, and how did they respond to that request? How did you respond to that request? You laughed at them? Somebody wanted on your team and you laughed at them?
No, I didn't laugh at them. I have to think about what's best for the group, what we need, what could benefit us. If you're just looking to come into the group because you want to go out and experience something, we'll take you as a guest. But if you want to really put in the hard work like we do and review all these videos for, hours and hours at a time, listen to all these digis, if you show me that you want to do this by putting in that effort without me actually asking you to do it, I will more than likely bring you onto the team. But a lot of people that have asked us to become a part of the group, they'll come on and they'll go out and investigate with us, and then they think that's it. They think that's all it is to it. And then when I ask them to actually do something, I get I can't do this. I've got too much stuff I got to do right now. So at this point in stage in Geek's career, I've come to the point where I'm like, if you want to put in the effort, I'll tell you exactly what's going on, what we need to have done. And if you're absolutely positive that you want to be a part of the group, I'll bring you in. But if you're not going to put in the effort, sorry.
Too bad, so sad.
I'm pretty blunt, but I also believe I'm a little professional about it. And so I try to tell them in the best professional way that I can. I appreciate that you want to be a part of the group. However, we're not needing anybody just to go along on the case. We need somebody that's actually going to put in the effort and the work for it.
She's a lot nicer than I am.
Darren just came online.
Darren's online now.
Well, now Kelly had said she's online. She's on the in the chat room. She had said you have some pretty cool scratches on you, Shauna.
I did. On that private investigation that we did, she was there with us with Debbie, and they actually witnessed the scratches forming.
We actually were taking pictures as they were forming on her neck.
We have the pictures on our internal. We just haven't posted them on the external yet because I've got to figure out how I'm going to do it without expressing too much detail, because a lot of people are going to ask, hello, where were you at when that happened? Like, it's a private location. I can't tell you that. But this is what happened, guys. Look.
Gotcha. Now, let's see now. We're going to be taking a break in a couple minutes. We also have, it looks like Mr. Evans. Is that his name? Evans?
Yes,
last name?
Darren
Evans. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here now. We're going to add him to the group. Let's add him to a group right now. And then we'll probably take a break after that. We're going to see what his excuse is for coming in late.
Probably work.
Yeah.
Work. He works hard.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's see here now. Darren, you can answer? Darren? Oh, Darren, you there? Darren?
Yes.
Hey, this is Jerry with the calling. You are live, so no swearing. The ladies told us about you.
I didn't say a word.
Okay.
Try not.
Okay. So, actually, we're going to be going to break in just a minute here and everything. But, Darren, tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you get to be a member of Geeks?
This lady's actually at a paranormal investigation that I actually met them on Facebook originally and asked them if they wanted to go do an investigation. They were real nice ladies, and we met out at a location, and it was just it felt right. So I'm not really officially part of a team, or before that, wasn't really officially with anyone, and so I thought it'd be cool to be a member of a nice little small team such as them.
Nice.
Wow.
Well,
Almost
good.
sounds like a blind paranormal date.
There you go. Well, listen, we're going to go to a break, guys, and then we're going to be right back, and we're going to hear a little bit more about Darren. So we'll be right back in 2 minutes.
Whether you're listening at home, at work, or anywhere, thanks for making Para X part of your day. Your source for everything paranormal, Para X.
Hey there. I don't know if you've heard, but there's a great new radio show on Para X. 2 hosts, 1 hour, and too much fun. Stephanie and Heidi not only talk about the latest goings-on in the supernatural worlds, they live it. They want to hear from you. They want to help you understand and guide you. And they want you to tune in. So, grab a friend or come alone to gather around that metaphysical table with Heidi and Stephanie. If you're interested in the worlds of the unseen, tune in to the Gathering Radio Show, Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern on Para X Radio.
It is the secret of the world that all things subsist and do not die, but only retire a little from sight and afterwards return again. Nothing is dead. People find themselves dead and endure the mock funerals and mournful obituaries. And there they stand, looking out the window, sound and well, in some new and strange disguise. This secret must be told to the world, and they must tell it. Because they're not dead, we know this, and we'll prove it. So join Mike and Dave every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central for the Odyssey Files. Only on Para X.
Demons, vampires, werewolves, skinwalkers, all of this and more, Sunday nights at midnight on the Staring Into the Abyss radio show. Come, get lost with us.
All right, we are back. This is Jerry with the calling, along with my co-host, Alan Yerkes Senior, not Junior, Senior. And tonight, poor Will was on the show, and just as we were going to start, I now just got an update from him, and he says that he is now sitting outside waiting for XL Energy to get there because they have a smell of gas in his house. So what a bummer. That's a huge bummer. And we had Darren on. We had some audio problems on his side. So we will continue to try to get a hold of him. And if you could let ladies, who am I speaking about, is Shauna and Victoria with GEEKS, which stands for General Ectoplasm. Victoria's head's in the way. Move your head.
Exposition and Knowledge Society.
There you go. That's the ones. I had a hard time. A friend of mine was a member of Freaks, which was Friends Researching Entities and Known Spirits.
Nice.
It was a mouthful, but it was pretty good. But it took me forever to remember. So, Shauna, if you happen to be listening, my bad. It did take me a long time. So, were you ladies able to get a hold of Darren?
Well, sort of.
Okay.
Talk to
Just
him.
1 second. Oh, I'm talking. She's texting, so
Okay.
ask a question.
All right, Alan, any questions?
Yeah, I was wondering about the paranormal investigations. What your favorite piece of equipment to use is?
Oh, I can tell you my favorite. It's the spirit box. I absolutely love the spirit box. Just seeing it go through all the frequencies that it's going through. Once I get that long sentence that comes through, I'm like, oh, wow, that is great. Also, the intelligent responses that I get from it when it actually starts responding is so exciting. But that's my favorite.
Ugh.
She hates the spirit
I don't
box.
I like parts of the spirit box. I do. I mean, I like the
Really?
Yeah. There's that word. I just totally killed that word.
I don't even know what you were saying.
Authenticity.
Authenticity.
Yeah. Wow. Have some more wine.
No.
Anyways, no. I like that aspect of it, but oh my gosh, talk about a migraine when you're trying to listen to it back. You got it on recording. But I mean, when you get that full sentence, it's like, oh wow, it's awesome. But I love the digis. I love the simplicity of the digis and just having them, and they're right there with you. And I'm not too complex there. I like my digis. the voice recorders.
Gotcha. Well, I think we're gonna go through and play some EVPs in just a second here. Darren, are you on? There he is.
You're sideways.
Yeah, you're sideways. You're on. There you go. All right. So, Darren, so the ladies have been telling us a little bit about geeks and about themselves. Now, what about you? How did you you get into the paranormal?
I'm probably the weirdest one of the bunch, so.
I don't know, Vic's pretty weird.
Hey.
In the mid '80s, started getting on Ouija boards and stuff, and one thing led to another, and I actually had some very strange experiences. And then later on, a decade later, I started hearing stories about people having similar experiences, and so it caused some research that led to a film and a couple of things here and there. And so it's I've been in it for about a decade as far as in the public light, and then a couple of decades of some individual practice, I guess you could say. So that's kind of how I got my start.
Gotcha. Wow. Okay. So it's something you've always, how did you first start doing it? I mean, was there something happened that kind of just kind of pushed you in that direction, or?
Yeah, you could say that. Hey, we found a Ouija board was found underneath a house that right across from my grandmother's house along the banks of the Arkansas River here outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And it was a weird Ouija board in that it had two sides. And so we started messing with that board. And that's when my involvement started with having strange experiences as far as the house that the board was found was rumored to be haunted. And we found that to be very true after a period of time. So I developed an extreme interest in the paranormal at about 14, 15 years old because of my experiences at that time.
Wow. Okay. Well, hey, we got some EVPs. Let's get into these EVPs here that we have. Sarge, could you play the first one, please?
That was definitely interesting. That was definitely interesting.
All right, Shauna, you want to take us through that one?
Well, I'll let Vicki take you through that one because she had the experience.
Oh, okay.
That right after my hand was hit, and as you can hear at the very end, it was saying, "I am here."
Right. I did hear that. Alan, could you hear that?
Yes, I did.
It was a very, very great. Whenever she said that to me, she goes, "Oh my gosh, Shauna, you gotta listen to this."
It was right after my hand was hit, like it was saying, "Hey, right here."
And this was at the investigation that Darren actually invited us on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was very interesting. There was a lot of stuff happened there.
What was the house? Can you mention the house, Darren, or no?
Not really. I mean, it's just, it's outside of Tulsa, and it's on some very strange property. The whole thing came down just really weird, and how I found out about it, and the events that happened right before we went into the investigation, and then the events that happened when we got there. And so, very strange case, and it was a very strange way to meet the ladies there at GEEKS Paranormal, and just being able to just walk into a pretty serious investigation like that. And to be able to work together, almost like we worked together before in some way, we just kind of just blended right in, and so it felt good. And I felt, it was just a weird deal the whole way around, but it worked out for the best, I think.
Awesome, excellent. Well, Sarge, let's play the second one, please.
No. But the wordings, and I'll catch on. Like she's asked to use his phone, and I'll speak back like. I'll catch on, and same as with a giggle. No. But the wordings, and I'll catch on. Like she's asked to use his phone, and I'll speak back like. I'll catch on, and same as with a giggle.
Wow, I don't know about you, Alan, but
well, that sent the chill up my spine. That one.
What's that?
That sent the chill up my spine. That was creepy.
Right. That was very creepy, yelling out "liar."
It was. Oh my gosh.
That was pretty good. Wow. Okay. Let's go. Let's go on to the next one, and then let's talk about them all. Sarge, can you go to the third one? Okay, that one took a little bit to really listen for, but you can hear that. I believe you should call me.
Yes.
Alan, did you catch that?
Yes, I did.
Wow. So now, is this at that same place that you all did?
Yeah, it was. All of it was. Well, not all of it, but those three definitely were. It was actually pretty weird. When I heard that, when her and I were actually arguing over what it was saying, and I'm like, I believe you should call me. I mean, come on. And it was just so creepy how the more you listen to it, it was like, what am I going to call you?
Okay, Sergeant, let's play that fourth one, please. Help me. That's what I got out of it.
Oh, yeah,
that's what
we got that a lot. Actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now, was this place I know you can't talk about it and stuff like that. You can't say where it was.
We can. We just can't say where it's located and who the people are.
Okay, but it was just a private home?
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. It was a private home?
Yes, it was a private residence, and we actually have a commercial out on it now on the YouTube channel. We believe, after researching the area and researching the site, that it could have been possibly a mimic demon. Well, not that particular EVP, but what they're probably saying, help me from.
There was many incidents during that investigation where it would mimic one of our voices in a different spot. Like at one point, Darren was not there.
No.
And it was talking as if it was Darren.
Over the spirit box.
Over the spirit box.
Wow.
And
Darren, has there been any cases that you had that you were like, oh, forget this, man?
There's been a few cases that I had to question whether or not why I was even there to begin with. But yes, I don't know. It's when you get into a place, you can if you just get that feeling that people describe, it's just hard to describe, but it is. I have been the weird things that happened on that location I'd never had happen anywhere else. And so each location seems to have its own energy and its own ways of showing itself. And so it's very fascinating. And the ladies are showing me some ropes on the actual investigation side that I been more of a researcher guy. And so it's always fun to join, people that really know what they're doing, and you can learn from everybody. I've learned from being on Ghost Adventures to live sci-fi, and then when you get with these two ladies, it gets real. It's really down to earth, and it's really different than when cameras are rolling. But it's I like their style, and it's just been a lot of fun.
Nice. Alan, you got questions?
Yeah, I was wondering about when you're going into maybe this is for Darren, when you're going into a investigation, is the technique more respectful oriented or antagonistic, trying to get a rise out of the spirit?
I think that can go either way. I'm not a big fan of a bunch of crazy, screaming and hollering and provocation, but I have gone off a time or two and just talking to them, and trying to get a rise from them. And so I've tried a little bit of everything, but I do think that respect will get you a lot farther with certain entities or ghosts, as you might want to call them, than being a disrespectful person, such as one might expect in just having our own casual relationships. So again, I think respect's going to get you further than a bunch of crazy zany provocations.
Wow. Okay, so now if I can ask you about Ghost Adventures, you on a couple episodes or just one?
2 Ghost Adventures episodes, yes.
Okay, what? Where were you guys at? What was the deal?
The first one was at the what's been called the Zozo Demon House in Oklahoma City. The residents I used to have. It was the first time they'd ever come to Oklahoma, and so that was kind of groundbreaking from us being from Oklahoma. It was cool for them guys to come. And then last year we went to Guthrie, Oklahoma, which has a very interesting, lots of haunted locations in that little city, which was formerly the capital that a lot of people don't remember. But we went to what's known as the Samaritan Cult House, or one of the first Midwestern federal prisons ever built. And so a lot of history in that place. And so, yeah, just being on Ghost Adventures was quite a...
Wow, yeah, that had to be something. So, ladies, have you been on any investigations or anything like that where when you first get there, you say something, or you and you just hear it loud and clear, and it's like this one is got it written all over you?
I'd have to say the TV. The TV hospital was me. I loved that place. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, she hasn't really been on a lot of investigations with us yet, so.
I have had some investigations up in Michigan privately, though, that were pretty fascinating.
Yeah. The TV hospital, we have an episode on that, too, on the YouTube channel. But I was doing the intro while our witch at the time was in a separate part of the whole building, and you can hear him going, you can hear a hum or like a sob going on, and then you hear him go, "What is that sound?" And you can clearly hear me coming into play, and at the time it was my husband that was with us because he was helping us out loading stuff because there's only 3 of us there, and another guest investigator, and you can clearly hear us coming down the hallway while you hear this sob. And once I heard that, my heart just broke. It was like when you're there, oh my God, it was just, that's me. that was my one that I will never forget it.
Interesting. What about you, Darren?
We went into a location in Oklahoma City with live sci-fi at one point, and I just walked in the house and sat down, and then I heard a strange noise from the kitchen. And it was just suddenly, and it was, I couldn't figure out what the hell was making that noise. Anyway, it was a fork on the counter that just sat there and spin really fast. And I caught it, and it was like nothing could have caused it. And that was as soon as I walked in. And so I sat down and I was like, it seemed to be ready for us. And so that was pretty evident and just clear, weird stuff happening as soon as you walk into a location. So that was very memorable.
Nice. Alan, you got questions?
Yeah, I've got a question for Victoria. As an empath, do you pick up on anything as you're going about your daily adventures?
Yes, actually. Sometimes it can be kind of intrusive. I'm sitting here next to my friend Shauna. If she's drunk and I'm not, well, guess what? I'm starting to feel her drunk.
Not now.
The other day, she had an incident where she hurt her finger, and my finger started hurting, and I was trying to take her pain away. So it can be kind of intrusive. And sometimes, like if one of my close friends, like especially anybody on the Geeks group, that is super depressed, then I will feel it. I might not know which one it is, but I will feel it, and I will put up there like, all right, who's sad right now? Who's upset? Come on, talk to me, because we need to resolve this, because I don't want to be sad today.
I'll be darned. So, Darren, I'm going to go back to Darren right now. Have you feel like you have developed any kind of insight or anything like that, or after doing all these investigations, doing it for over a decade?
I do. I don't know what the hell to call it, but I do have some kind of intuition, it seems, on certain things. It seems like, and maybe it's just picking up on people's feelings or emotions, or I don't go around advertising it, but I do think that I have some kind of something going on where I'm able to at least get into that whole atmosphere and try to just feel things, which I think is an important part of that whole process.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Yeah, there's always some good things like warning signs or something like that. And a lot of times when a person's going in for an investigation, if the feeling's not right, then sometimes you should have listened to your gut to begin with. Go ahead, Alan. I'm sorry.
No, I got a question for Shauna. As the fearless leader and the head geek, before you go into an investigation, does your team get together, have a meeting, and discuss almost like a strategy, game plan type thing?
Oh, yes, definitely. Once we have... The only thing that I don't go into detail with is the history of the property or the haunting of the property, because I have Vicky, that's the sensitive, and I have another possible sensitive on our group, and I don't want them. I want to be able to get their view of the property before I go into detail what that is. But I will go into detail with some of the other geeksters and let them know, hey, this is what's going on at this property. We need to get all this together. They said this particular part of the property is more haunted. This one has less activity. But we have meetings pretty much
at least once a month.
At least once a month. But especially before an investigation, because I want everybody to get together. I want to know who's going, who's not going to get to go, and actually discuss what's going on before we go there. But I won't fill her in on anything until after she's walked through it. Once we get there, she walks through it. She does what she needs to do, come back out and lets me know what she's feeling. We document it on the recorder, and then we go from there.
I always go into a site blind.
Really?
Yes.
You don't want nobody to tell you what's going on or anything like that?
It wouldn't be fair if I'm claiming to be a sensitive if they already told me what's going on.
No, that's true. And Darren, any kind of ritual you have in going into an investigation?
Try to stay off a Ouija board. No, sometimes I'll actually use a board if I'm not getting a whole lot of evidence, just to see if there's anything that comes up through that. But I don't recommend that to everyone. I've got a long history with them, so. As far as rituals, I don't really believe in a lot of ritualistic stuff other than keep an open mind and try to stay positive, focused on the positive as well as dwelling on the negative, which I think can have an effect on investigations.
Gotcha. Yeah, you're right. That's true. That's true. Alan, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Has anybody from the squad, have they ever brought anything back with them from an investigation, like an attachment to spirit following them, that kind of stuff?
I have not. My husband believes that I did one time because our son started acting really weird, very aggressive and against authority right after I did an investigation at the TV hospital. But honestly, I don't believe that I really did. Though, you never know what happens. I do bless my house and cleanse my house on a yearly basis because I don't want that to happen, especially now that I have a 3-year-old little girl. I have a 15 and a 13-year-old, and the 13-year-old was the one that was really getting aggressive and everything. But after that, I don't believe so. I like to go through my little rituals of where I pray before I go into the property, and then I pray after I go from the property. I make sure to tell the entities that, you cannot come with me. You are to stay here. And then I'll pray again on the road while I'm going home. But, if anything does come home, I think I'm pretty backed up.
And a lot of times we do pretty thorough cleansings of these houses after we leave them, or like right before we leave them. And they're not going to come home with us. They don't want anything to do with us.
All right, we're down to just 1 minute left, ladies. Unbelievable. This whole hour just flew past.
It did.
Yeah. So now if anybody's looking for your help, ladies, how do they get a hold of Geeks?
They can get a hold of Geeks on our Facebook page. They can go to facebook.com/GEEKS Paranormal. They can call us our number, and I'm going to get that for you in just a minute.
They can also go to www.youtube.com/GEEKS Paranormal.
Yeah, they could go there. They can pretty much reach us. Our biggest thing that we've noticed is that people like to message. They don't like to call.
Right.
So I recommend more the Facebook.com because of the simple fact that they'd rather talk to you without having to talk to you on the phone. I don't know. I guess it's a shyness for some.
That could be.
I don't know.
It's just the age.
I don't believe. I mean, I've noticed that a lot of people have come to us via the Facebook page because we have a phone number on the Facebook page, and we don't hardly get any calls on there. They'd rather talk to us and message us on the Facebook page to find out, hey, I got this problem, and I was bringing it to you guys through this. You can get our phone number off the Facebook page. It's on there. We're also on Twitter. We're on Tumblr. We're on WordPress.
Okay, how about you, real quick, Darren? Sorry, we're running out of time. To get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you if they want to?
I have a blog at Darren Evans Paranormal. Just go into Google and type in my name and E.P.P. or Paranormal. You'll see all kinds of stuff. And Darren Evans Paranormal.
Sounds good. All right, everybody, I'm so sorry, but we ran out of time. Just hold tight here. Thank you very much, Alan. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Darren. Folks, we'll be back next week with Jenny Sight. We'll be talking to her about remote viewing, her book coming out, and we'll see you all next week.
Rock on, everybody!